Hey there, Scorpio. Welcome to your reading. This is going to be a bonus reading for January. This is going to be for the 10 conjunctions that we are going to have in January. I'm going to talk about that in a minute. You have this helping hand card. It says, universe is helping you find something you need that will lead you to your next step. You also have this angels are watching card. It says there's nothing to worry about. Angels are watching over you. So love it. The whole point of this reading is that between January 6th and the 29th of January, there are going to be 10 conjunctions in the astrology. 4 of them are happening in Capricorn. The other 6 are happening in Aquarius between those dates. And, this is a big thing. Very important, Scorpio, because this almost never happens. I actually looked to find when the last time this happened, and I couldn't find a time in the past where there have been 10 planets going conjunct all within 1 month. So, again, this could be a pretty big, significant change for people. Conjunctions are the most powerful transits in astrology. And like I said, to have 10 of them is pretty crazy, and they're pretty positive, and they're all being pretty well aspected with the other astrology that's going on as well. So again, pretty significant month as far as I'm concerned, and we're going to see what this means for you. So you start here with the Knight of Swords, and this is how you are entering into the reading. We are obviously doing a Celtic cross, and the first card is how you are entering into the reading. So Knight of Swords can be charging forward. Knight of Swords can be a little bit hasty, but I also feel pretty good about this. Knight of Swords is one of those cards I kind of go back and forth on. Sometimes I think it's good, sometimes I think it's bad. Really it's only bad if you're rushing too much. So if you're like jumping to conclusions, if you're forcing things to work, then it's a problem. And I don't really feel that for you, and it's a pretty positive reading and a positive time. So overall, I feel this is saying that you are building momentum. For you fixed signs, it is definitely probably one of the best years to build momentum towards something that you want to work towards. So I kind of feel like these conjunctions, they're happening so close together as well, which is very weird. They're happening between 2 signs, Capricorn and Aquarius, which are 2 signs right next to each other in the astrology. Like, I don't know, maybe it would be different if they were happening, on like 4 different corners. I know a circle doesn't have corners, but bear with me, right? I fell on my head when I was 10 years old, so this is how my brain works, right? And, again, if it happened to like in 4 different places, maybe I wouldn't be making such a big deal out of it. But because it's happening in only 2 signs right next to each other, it kind of is giving me this like little bit of a portal vibe, where it's almost like, even though technically conjunctions aren't necessarily like a portal energy, it's giving me that vibe. So, I feel that there could be a lot of progress, and you could be kind of like moving through some sort of portal. The thing that kind of makes this a little bit stronger is that your crossing energy is the Judgment card. The crossing energy can be what hurts you or helps you in a Celtic cross. These people are kind of standing like in between like 2 portals, basically. The coffin is their old life. Outside the coffin is their new life. Their higher self is calling them to leave their old life behind and to step into their new life. So clearly, it is time for you, Scorpio, to, enter into your new life here with the Judgment card. And it's like the universe is calling you. It is crossing, so you might not exactly hear it. But I feel if you listen to your dreams, your daydreams, really I think just looking around here at the other cards that you have showing up, by the way, you have this Imagine card, you have this card that says, expect a powerful change. It's like maybe you need to pay attention to your intuition or your dreams or what you're imagining even. We'll talk more about that in a second. You have that Helping Hand card. The angels are watching. It's like the universe is trying to like get your attention with the Judgment card. The thing that could be making this a little bit harder to pay attention to is Neptune at the end of the month on the 26th is going to enter into Aries. Sometimes I think Neptune, when it enters into a new sign, it kind of changes our intuition a little bit, or maybe our intuition just feels different. And so I would, that's the only really challenge you have popping up here for all these conjunctions is like, maybe it's asking you to pay just a little bit closer to your attention or pay attention to something else that you don't pay attention to. Like, maybe normally you don't pay attention to your dreams, or maybe you think that you don't dream, or maybe you don't pay attention to repeating numbers. I think now is the time. Next, in the area of what's on your mind, you have the Queen of Cups. Queen of Cups is all about like what your heart wants, and again, fixed signs are definitely going to be focusing on what their heart wants. Uranus will be leaving Taurus forever, basically, this year, so in April, and we will all be dead the next time it comes back to Taurus. So I shouldn't say forever, but in this lifetime, it's going to be leaving Taurus forever. So again, I think Uranus, once it moves into Taurus, like you should start now, but when it leaves, that's when we really have to implement the lessons we learned. And so Uranus and Taurus is about true freedom for fixed signs and like developing true freedom in your life. And so if there's anything that has any control over your heart or like what your heart wants, you're probably going to start rejecting those things. And or at least you should, and you are going to follow your heart more. But this is coming up again in the area of what's on your mind. So you're literally, your brain is like making you do this more. You have the Ten of Cups in the area of your foundation, which is amazing. Ten of Cups as a foundational card in a Celtic cross can say that you're feeling very supported. That could be through people. It could also be through like your guides, your ancestors, whatever you believe in, and the universe. And so I do feel a lot of support. Ten of Cups is like fortune after difficulty. I kind of feel this is like your goal, or, it's like you're trying to do something to create more fortune after difficulty. So if you've been through a difficult period of time, it's like you're trying to turn that around. And we actually see that right here as well with the Wheel of Fortune. Wheel of Fortune is a good card, but I always say like, yeah, it's a good card, but we have to take action with the Wheel of Fortune. We have to be the ones that get the wheel spinning in the right direction. So but having this as your foundation, it kind of tells me that you are doing things to get that wheel spinning forwards, which is a good thing. Next, in the area of your past, you have this Exchange Gifts card and this Imagine card. Yes, so the past position is the energy that you are moving past. I love that Imagine card. She's imagining something. It's kind of hard to see on this Imagine card, but she's bringing the moon down to Earth. So I kind of like that it's coming up in the past because we have the Ten of Cups. The Ten of Cups, those 10 cups are above those people's heads. I always say they have to bring that dream down to Earth. And having this in a past position, pretty much says that you've already started bringing a dream down to Earth, and or you've already started putting in the work into something. So that's going to be a good thing. Even though it's coming up in the past position, that Exchange Gifts card could say there are like gifts from the universe coming in for you now. You have the Three of Cups also in your past position. It's like I almost get this feeling that you're believing in yourself more here, Scorpio. Three Cups isn't bad, and like I don't think it's a bad thing to ask for help. As a matter of fact, I encourage people to ask for more help. I think spiritual people are bad at asking for help when help could solve all your problems very quickly, right? But it is almost like you are more confident in yourself. It's like I also think maybe what you're noticing right at the beginning of the year here is that you're kind of like coming up with your own solutions. You don't need people to like solve your problems as much. And again, I think this is good from like an independence perspective and, just for your own confidence perspective as well. These three ladies are celebrating a harvest, but the funny thing that's popping, like the first thought I had when I grabbed this card is that that's a small harvest. I never pay attention to the like how big the harvest is on this card. But it's like it's almost like the universe is trying to say like you could have like more than this. Your harvest in life could be a lot bigger. And I think this is a good card for being grateful for the harvest that you've received up into this point. Of course, like I'm not talking about, materialism here or being materialistic or anything like that, but it's almost like the universe is trying to challenge you and like say like this is good, and it's good that you're grateful for it, but you can do more. And so I feel this is a challenge from the universe. It's like saying, do more, Scorpio. Next, in the area of the very near future, you have this Pisces card. It says sensitize on it. You have this Sagittarius card. It says expand on it. Yeah, really getting in touch with your feels, your feelings here, Scorpio, with that sensitized card. You have the Queen of Cups. Again, she is very in touch with her heart. You have the Queen of Pentacles here as well, which we'll talk about. But the Queen of Pentacles is maybe more grounded, more logical, more practical, right? And so it's almost saying like you have the practical side down, but maybe just tapping a little bit more into your spiritual side or your feelings might be a good thing for you. Very expansive year. This year we have, 10 conjunctions in a month is crazy. So, anything you can do that puts you in a position where you could expand would be a good idea. Continuing that message about your very near future, you have the Queen of Pentacles. And continuing the message about expansion, the Queen of Pentacles, she has this rabbit right here. The rabbit can represent fears and anxiety, fertility and abundance. And also, I always say that the rabbit represents multiplication. So a great way to expand is to do what works. And I know that sounds simple, but I cannot tell you how many people I have worked with that where, especially on YouTube, where I just get them to repeat their successes and they're like, I can do that. I'm like, yeah, you can just have that success again. You can just do that over again. So I don't think it's necessarily like immediately obvious. People love to tell me how obvious it is to repeat their successes. And I'm like, well, why haven't you done it yet? Like, why haven't you done what worked the last time? Right? So it's not like, and even me, trust me, I'm no genius, right? I even miss my successes a lot of the time. So that's definitely something that you should pay attention to. A great example, I'm doing these bonus readings during the week now, right? Later in the day. I did that like 3 years ago. If you go to my top videos on my channel, some of them are from like 3 years ago, from when I did that style of reading. And I'm like, why didn't I do that again? It clearly was a winner when I did it the first time. It took me 3 years to like find something to repeat, right? So again, it's like, are there any things? Are there, success leaves clues. Where are the clues for your success? And like, can you repeat that over and over and over again? I definitely would with the Queen of Pentacles. The Queen of Pentacles, it kind of reminds me of like the upper limit problem. One of my favorite books of all time is The Big Leap by Gay Hendricks, and he talks about how we all have this upper limit problem where there is like a magical number or there is a certain level of success where we think we can't go beyond that level of success, or we think that we're doing, I think sometimes we think we're doing something wrong, when we're not. It's like I've seen this happen a lot on YouTube, like specifically because that's all I do all day. And, I've seen people where they have like a big success with a video and they're almost like imposter syndrome about doing it again because they think, well, I did it once, but that's, that's too much. I can't accept that much goodness in my life. And I'm spending time on this because I really think the Queen of Pentacles is asking you to look at that. Like why don't you deserve 10 times more? I don't know. I can't answer that question for you, Scorpio, but it's definitely a question I would answer. And I would fix it, and I would say, if you think you only deserve 10 times more, make it 100. Next, in the area of the good stuff, you have this card that says you and your loved ones are safe. You have this card that says expect a powerful change. Definitely, I think the whole point of me doing these readings is that these 10 conjunctions, I do believe, are going to bring in powerful change in the month of January for people. So, definitely true. And I feel like you are protected. Over the next few months, you have the Wheel of Fortune, which is excellent. The Wheel of Fortune says you are doing things to change your fortunes. As always, I'm pretty sure I say this to you a lot, Scorpio, but there's this snake on the side of the wheel. The snakes are guardians of portals, and the Wheel of Fortune is a portal card. So the snake can say that the things that you want are on the other side of some sort of fear. So if there's something you want that you don't have, it might be time to like face some sort of fear or worry about like how you can have it or about like what the change will mean. And that's kind of what I was saying on that Queen of Pentacles. So that might be something you want to work on. But Wheel of Fortune, 10 of Cups is a definite change in your fortunes. You have the Ace of Wands. Ace of Wands is coming up in the area of your closest relationships. This is all relationships in your life during this time. The Ace of Wands can be out with the old and with the new, so definitely could be some new, like, passionate connections. I do kind of feel like your intensity is, like, returning this year. It's like maybe you haven't had something to feel intense about. It's like sometimes, they say that Scorpio is very intense, but it's like maybe that's a good thing, right? It's like maybe it's good if you're, like, intensely focused on something like an improvement or a goal or even a person, right? As long as it's healthy. then, why does it matter? It probably doesn't. But, again, I kind of feel there's like this return to your intense energy with the Ace of Wands. It's like you're finding something to be excited about, or you're finding something to be intense about. It doesn't have to be a connection. I don't even think this is a person. It could come from a person. So I would definitely pay attention. Again, everything about the whole intuition thing going on here in your reading is saying, someone could say something to you that triggers a thought, that triggers an intuition, that gives you an idea that you become intense about, right? So, you have to follow those threads in your life. And I definitely feel the Ace of Wands is kind of saying that to you, Scorpio. Next, in the area of your future feelings, you have the Queen of I'm just going to list them all off, but the Knight of Pentacles. It's you know what to do now, but you have to do it. The Knight of Pentacles could say that as we move throughout the month, that you get more and more clear. He is clear on what he needs to do to get something to grow. All he has to do is plant that seed in this empty field behind him, and it will grow. So it's almost like you're getting answers or something. These conjunctions could be bringing you answers here, Scorpio, or could be guiding you in your life, which I think will be very good for you. So I would definitely pay attention to that. The other thing is again, the Queen of Pentacles, there's something about this reading that I feel is talking about you having belief in your own ideas. Three of Cups in the past, talking about how, it's basically saying you don't need people anymore, which is not true. You definitely still should work with people, get help, and all that other stuff. It's not an excuse, right? But, it's saying you don't, maybe a better way to put it, Scorpio, is you don't need the confirmation from people. He has his own confirmation. He knows what's going to work. Everything about him, it represents knowledge and wisdom. He has these oak leaves on his helmet, and those oak leaves represent knowledge and wisdom. They basically say, everything you need to do now. And maybe not right this second. I'm recording this on January 1st. This will be published on the 2nd, or whatever day. Not the 2nd, the 3rd, right? And so, I was super motivated today. I've done 20 readings today already, so, bear with me. But what I would say here is that, it's you are going to know what to do as we move through January, right? You have this death card. The death card can represent a transformation or a change. So I do feel that there could be a very big transformation or change. You have that card that says expect a powerful change. This is you in the tarot. So you are showing up in a very strong position. Whenever you show up as yourself, it puts you in a position of power and strength and allows you to get what you want from the reading. So you are going through a big change. The other thing I like about the death card is that it can represent the light at the end of the tunnel. It can say that you are seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. So like I said on that Knight of Pentacles, it's you're finally getting answers. We're going to clarify this now here, Scorpio, so let's see. With the Judgment card and the Knight of Swords, you have the Temperance card. And I feel like you're being unleashed here, Scorpio. It's you're being set free in some ways. Knight of Swords, Judgment, it's maybe you felt held back, or maybe you felt Knight of Swords can be too hasty. He can rush things. He can try to do things too quickly. So it's maybe the time that you're coming off of is you are coming off of a time where you have felt held back, and now I feel like you're just being unleashed here. That's what I feel intuitively. With the Queen of Cups, you have the Eight of Swords. It's I think this is the part of yourself that you need to set free, is your feelings, Scorpio, or it's it's both. It's your intuition and your feelings, your emotions and your intuition, but working together. That's what I feel like you need to work on here, Scorpio. I don't even know what I'm trying to say, but it's I feel like your intuition and your emotions are together as one almost, and I feel that working with that energy and setting it free will be the thing that sets you free here with these cards. I don't even feel bad about this Eight of Swords. To me, the Eight of Swords really isn't that bad of a card. It's yeah, she's stuck, but it's a card of self-imposed restriction. The whole point of the card is to set yourself free, and I feel like you are. With the Ten of Cups, you have the Nine of Swords. I would let go of the fear of repeating mistakes here, Scorpio. Nine of Swords is Groundhog's Day. It's having a nightmare waking up being stuck in a nightmare. It's my card that says you need to set yourself free from a nightmare, but I feel like this is more like where you hold back. Again, the Queen of Cups lives from her heart. She is emotionally vulnerable, emotionally open, which opens her up to the risk of being hurt, of course, right? But at the same time, she knows that like that level of authenticity is like the only thing that is going to bring her what she wants. So, that's kind of how it's popping into my head. It's almost like, taking that risk will set you free. And, I'm not, obviously, I'm not saying you should go out and get hurt. But what I am saying is that, being more open in situations that could hurt if they don't work out is kind of what the reading is asking you to do. With the Three of Cups, you have the Four of Pentacles. Four of Pentacles is like security, holding on too tightly to the past. It can represent a comfort zone. And that's kind of what I was saying on the Three of Cups. It's not like, again, you still can go to people. That is not what I'm saying. But, it's almost like you are being more confident in yourself. So maybe you just don't need people as much, or maybe there's a certain group of people with the Three of Cups that you don't need as much in your life. And of course, they're still going to be in your life, but I feel you're just making up your own mind on things with the Eight of Swords and the Queen of Cups. It's like you're realizing that your life is your own. With the Queen of Pentacles, can't make this up. You have the Moon. I was talking about being emotionally vulnerable. The whole point of the Moon is we have this lobster right here. Kind of looks like a scorpion, even though it's a lobster. If you've ever seen a lobster on land, they don't move around very well. So, again, the whole point of the lobster on the moon is to release your emotional armor, right? It's about needing to be vulnerable, needing to open yourself up. And trust me, I always have people coming at me whenever I say this about how bad it is when they get hurt and everything like that. And I used to be nice about it, but then I decided to stop being nice about it because you're an adult, you're not dead. So, like, get over it. I think people are too dramatic about things. And if you don't like it, I don't know. There are plenty of people that will blow candy canes and gumdrops up your ass somewhere else, right? So there you go. But what I would say here is like, I want people to be tough because life is tough. And it's like, yeah, sure, I could sit here and be like, oh, don't get hurt. Life is all gumdrops and unicorns and all this other stuff. But yeah, that's not how life works. So I don't know, whatever, rant over. But what I would say here is that, I think that, you can be emotionally vulnerable and pay attention at the same time. You can enter into a relationship, for example, and be emotionally open. All you have to do is pay attention. It's like, I think people that get hurt, it's because we're not paying attention to what the person is doing, And so as long as you pay attention, you'll be fine. Same thing goes for work or business. If you're paying attention, you'll be fine, right? And you'll be able to leave it before it becomes something that can hurt you. And so that's what I would do with the moon. With the Wheel of Fortune, you have the Ten of Pentacles, everything you want and desire in your life here, Scorpio. Ten of Pentacles is the tree of life, forms everything you want and desire. Again, you are a fixed sign. Uranus and Taurus wants you to build and leave a legacy, and especially once it leaves. So even though it's going to be leaving this year, it doesn't matter. You're going to have plenty of time to, build and leave some sort of legacy. With the Ace of Wands, you have the Magician. Pretty much says you can have whatever you want. I mean, the Magician is the card of the law of attraction or manifesting. So I would, if you're like looking for love or whatever, I would definitely try to manifest it. I always pull the card he's pointing to. We're going to say it's this one. This one says midheaven. It says pinnacle on it. Yeah, it's kind of like you're reaching the top of something here, Scorpio. And this could be through your creative power. That's the other thing. Ace of Wands, Magician would be about manifesting through creativity, which, kind of makes sense for this year, I would say, and also this time. This reading is for this time of these conjunctions, the 6th to the 29th of January, so it might be extra important that you tap into your creativity. This kind of looks like fantasy, this whole image that's going on this card. And that's like, that's kind of popping into my head. It's like, maybe you need to open up more to like some sort of fantasy that you have. It's like, are you going to be able to create a castle in the clouds? Maybe not, but maybe you'll get close, right? Maybe you can get something that's pretty close to that vision, and I would. With the Knight of Pentacles, you have the Devil. Yeah, Saturn switching signs this year again. February 13th, Saturn will move into Aries. With the Knight of Pentacles here, this would be like the devil on your shoulder. The voice in your head, that upper limit problem. Maybe The Big Leap would be a good book for you to go and read as well. So that would be something I would look into, like overcoming that voice that says you can't do this, you can't do that, or the voice that tells you can't accomplish this, you can't have more money, you can't whatever, right? That's what I would work on. With the Death card, you have the Seven of Wands. Yeah, boundaries are going to be important. Again, we can be emotionally vulnerable and still have boundaries, of course. So, I think that would be a good thing for you to focus on as well with that Seven of Wands. There is something about the Seven of Wands where, it's a card of your belief in yourself. It's a card of conviction. It says when you know that you can have something, then you will have it. But you have to have that belief, right? We're going to pull 5 themes here. This is the Oracle of the Radiant Sun. So 5 themes that you could be dealing with during this conjunction period. Again, 6th to the 29th. I was born with a fat tongue. I can't say 6th. It just doesn't come out right. You have this status card, so you have that Pinnacle card as well. Definitely could be a good time for you to focus on increasing your status in some area. You have this health card. Yeah, amazing time to work on your health. That's true for everyone. The end of Neptune and Pisces is great for staying healthy. It's great for doing things that improve your health. You have this intuition card. Can't make that up, Scorpio. The whole entire reading was talking about you trusting your intuition more. Or like maybe you need to make the time to listen to your intuition more. Next, you have this caution card. Other people. I always say this card, all these animals are like rushing towards this lady on this card. And, maybe you do need to have boundaries against too many people. It might be a good time to focus on those concentrated connections in your life. And for your final theme here you go. You have Venus and Scorpio, this Secrets card. This is a good card. It's kind of like the Magician. This card says that there are things that you can learn that will help you manifest things in your life faster. And so anything you're interested in, it is a good time for self-education. I pretty much say that to everyone. So, anything new that you can learn about what you're working on would be good here, Scorpio. But this looks pretty good. So thank you for being here. Make sure to leave a comment. Really helps me out. And definitely enjoy your month.